So
yeah.
we want to organize this together, right, Nicola? So you could tell us a little bit more about the new support space that you started recently. So thank you for having me here and talking about this.
Well, I really appreciate your joining me for this because I've wanted to do this for a while and it's just like, you know, I just keep making excuses to myself and not doing it. So having you here helps me because then, you know, asking questions and answers just feels a little bit easier than me just like spouting off for however long. So, yeah.
I'm a kick in the butt, whatever you need. So, I know that you've been thinking about this move from a Facebook group, a free Facebook group, to another community that might be maybe differently operated.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the reasons behind this move.
So there are actually a number of reasons. And first of all, I want to apologize to everybody that this sort of was out of the blue because I have been working on it since about March of this year, but I'm sort of a person who like, I work on something head down and I don't, you know, I'm not very good at the whole sharing on social media thing. So it's like, I work on something and it's like, oh, now I'm done. So here it is. And I realize that that's kind of a surprise to people. So I do apologize for that. So, you know, I think that, you know, and I also didn't do a big marketing blitz because that takes my time and energy away from the things that I really enjoy doing, which is actually helping people recover and supporting people in recovery. So, you know, I'm working on the marketing side, but it's not my forte. But so there, yeah, I mean, there are so many different factors in why I wanted to do this. One is that, you know, given everything that's been happening with Facebook and the way that they have been sort of driving negativity in the US and many other places in the world, you know, just I feel like not supporting them is better for me personally. And also just, you know, I go on Facebook to go into the groups and it's like, yeah, I go in and write things there. And then I go to my feed and it's like, oh, shiny new thing. Let me go read that. And let me go read that. And so I end up spending hours just like scrolling through Facebook. And sometimes it's just, you know, I do have other things to do. So a group outside of Facebook is actually really nice because it doesn't have that same sort of addictive draw to it. It's like you go in, you spend your time, you answer a few things, and then it's like, oh, I can go and live the rest of my life. So that's something that's good for me. And there were a number of people who told me that they only joined Facebook in order to join the group, or didn't even want to join Facebook to join the group. So I think having a space outside is a place that, you know, hopefully will be more of a community for like a larger number of people. Yeah. And then finally, there are a number of other period recovery coaches who have stepped into this space in the years since I started things. And, you know, a lot of them have a lot less experience and knowledge than I do, and they're running paid support groups. And so it just felt like the right time for me to be better compensated for the work that I do, as well as all of those other reasons.
Yeah. And I think we discussed together, right? Not pretend like it's the first time I hear about it.
Yeah.
We both also felt, I think, that it was important for people that wanted to really be involved in their recovery, that sometimes paying a little bit of money to it, it really helps you also stay motivated. That if, you know, it's the same thing when you take any subscription, right? That you think, am I really going to use it? This is something I really want to be able to get some return on investment for. And sometimes we felt like the free group also was a kind of, people were coming and going, and it was not really helpful to them at the end of the day because they couldn't actually take that step towards recovery. So I think sometimes throwing some money at it can really make a difference. But you're going to tell us more about it. It's obviously not huge amounts. I know that you wanted it to be very available to most people. Now, first, there is a form to join the group. Can you tell us a bit more about that form?
Yeah, so the form is fairly straightforward. It's basically just for collecting a little bit of info from you to set up from the person who would like to join to set up the subscription, and including the monthly amount that people would like to pay. which varies from $1.99 to $9.99 a month. You know, I hope that people would consider the value that having my support and expertise has provided and choose to support at a higher level. But I know that not everybody can afford that. And so I wanted to offer a range of options because, you know, I know that if you're a student, you might not be able to pay that much or whatever. So, you know, it's sort of designed that people can support at the level that is financially feasible and reasonable for them. And it's always been important to me that these services are available to as many people as possible because I don't feel like pureed recovery should be limited to those who have a lot of money. You know, it should be available to everybody. And so, you know, but at the same time, I think about the money that people spend on gym memberships and personal trainers and supplements and all the like special foods. And, you know, so I just hope that people are willing to spend a small fraction of that on the recovery group. And yeah, hopefully that's something that they find worthwhile and valuable.
And I think, you know, one thing not to underestimate is that for that, it's the really small amount if you think about it. I mean, it's probably the cost of 2 coffees, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure people get a coffee probably every day if they go to the office, if they're back in the office. Sorry, COVID permitting, right? But so $10 is not only, I think, you know, the value that you get because of your presence there, interacting more with the members, and you know, but it's also the fact that they will benefit from talking to each other.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
almost like a type of, right, because it feels incredibly validating to hear that you're not alone in how you feel and how you experience recovery.
Yep.
And I know that for me, I mean, it was at the time the Fertile Thoughts Forum. It was not the Facebook group, but I heard it being said in other settings that just the fact that you could read that there were tens and hundreds of other women or people going through the same situation as you suddenly feel much more supported as well. So and I think another thing to mention is that I don't think you set a specific amount of time for the subscription, did you? So if people sign up, they can sign up for a few months or they can keep going.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm still working a little bit on the back end of things. So I'm working on a portal where people can manage the subscription themselves, because obviously that's much easier. But that's taking a little bit more than I thought. You know, again, these technology things, they make it seem like everything's going to be so easy, and then it's not so easy. So I'm still working on that. So that's on my list of things to do. I also wanted to say, if anybody who's watching has questions, do please feel free to comment and ask. You know, this is intended to answer your questions as well. So Florence and I just came up with a few things that people might be interested in, but if you have specific questions, please please feel free to ask. We're happy to answer anything that anybody would like.
And I know also that one of the things that you had thought about when you launched this group was that some of the comments we used to have in the Facebook group is that people felt sometimes a little bit restricted in the way they could post, because were really filtering a lot of stuff and making sure that it was a safe group for everybody. In this setting, I think there will be able to be a bit more freedom in posting whatever you feel like posting, and getting support and getting an exchange on those topics. So, but can you maybe take us through the group? I mean, is it possible to screen share and show us a little bit what?
I think so. There's a button that says share your screen, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's see, window. All right, there we go. This is looking positive. All right, can you see this?
Oh, you are amazing. I can totally see you.
Beautiful. Excellent. All right. So there are just a few things that I wanted to share. So this is generally what the group looks like. So on the left side here, there's a menu, and this is all the different spaces that are within the sort of support arena. It's a little hard to know exactly what to call everything. So these are spaces, and there's the overall support group. So there's a welcome in the start here space. I've just got a little checklist of things to do to kind of get yourself oriented. This here is a video to help with the same thing. I'm going to actually update it because I've learned a few more things since I've been in the group for a while now.
Oh.
So we've got a section for wins, and so this is just people sharing, their small little victories, which, I think it's nice to have it all collected in one space, whereas in the Facebook group, it's like people can post something, but then it disappears. So I think that having a section like this means that, if you're feeling down, you can come here and be like, oh, like, look at all these cool things that people have done, and maybe share your own. So I think that's one of the really nice things about this, is that things are kind of collected together in a way that makes it much easier to find things that are useful. Yeah. So same thing here with the recovery stories. So we've got a number of recovery stories. This is one that I love. So Anita just got her period naturally after 14 months, which is so exciting. And wow. So we get to read all of those. And so again, like when you're looking for motivation on those days when you're feeling down, like you can come here and just read, just keep reading the positive stories, and hopefully that can help keep you motivated for your own recovery. This section here is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Florence.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who was kind of binge reading through these stories when I was at the height of my own recovery, really hoping that it would be me one day. So I think it's really nice to have information available in one spot for sure.
Yep. So here we have the place where I post live chats. So I've done a couple of them so far, and I'm hoping that Florence will come on and do one on body image in a couple of weeks. And then Cynthia has said she'll do something on nutrition. So as more people join the group, we'll have different experts coming in and talking about different aspects of recovery. So here we have a pregnancy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's going to be once a week, right? That you do it live?
It's been every 2 weeks, just because, timing and me having my kids on the weekends, and, so we'll see. I mean, I think that will kind of be something that changes as more people join the group, and it becomes, more financially feasible for me to pay other people to present or whatever. So, that's something that right now it's just me and maybe you, Florence, and then, we'll see, but that's sort of the idea, is that I'll have experts coming in and be paying them for their expertise, because I think that's, I think that's really important, that we do, so many of us work from home, or have our own businesses now, and I do think that it's important to compensate people for their time and energy and expertise. So then here we have some pregnancy and postpartum groups that people may or may not be interested in. And then here's the general period recovery section. So we've got the general support group, life after recovery, a couple of specialized groups. So there's a few people that have type 1 diabetes and HA. And so I've kind of collected, I've asked a few of those people to be in that group in case there are more people who come along. There's one on primary HA, bone density. This is a new group, actually. This is extended recovery. So this is for people who have been all in or working on recovery for more than 6 months without a period, because sometimes the questions and thoughts are different from just getting started on recovery. So having a sort of separate space for those kinds of discussions seemed like a good thing, and welcomed by the community. And then here we have the getting pregnant section. So that's also something, I do require that you have the book for this, just because there's that whole section on getting pregnant in the book, with a lot of information about oral medications and injections, and timing of intercourse, and all those things. And so that way, this group is more about support than people asking questions about those basic things that are covered in the book. There's this learn more section. So this has a bunch of sort of more informative posts collected in one place. Again, a lot of this information was in the Facebook group, but I don't think very many people knew it was there. It was kind of hard to find. So like the basics of HA here, I've sort of put together some lessons to kind of, for people to learn about, sort of the factors in HA and how they might be playing a role in their own recovery. And then we have, a similar thing for HA versus PCOS. So chapter 6 from the book that you can download, a bunch of other blog posts. some nutrition resources.
If I understand, you don't have to have the book to join, right?
Correct. You do not at this time.
And then you've actually put some of the book information, but also more. So I think extra research you have done since the book.
Yes.
That was usually shared also on your Patreon account, right? So that will also be part of it. There will be kind of extra information that we used to not share for free.
Yeah. So I'm actually just going to pop over to my Patreon page. So I do have plans to transfer all of these posts over to the New Circle community. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet because I've still been working on the community, and you and I are working on the translations. But certainly all these posts are ones that I plan to move over into the Circle community. So you can see there's quite a lot of information here that, particularly like fiber and HA recovery is a question that comes up a lot. The question of whether being vegan affects bone density. CoQ10 for egg quality, melatonin and egg quality. So lots of good info here that I shared on my Patreon, but I never, again, I'm not good at marketing. So so that's all stuff that I plan to move over into the Circle community as well.
Because I think that's really a lot of extra value actually compared to the original free group, where we were literally just moderating the exchanges with other members of the group. Mostly there was not a lot, and I know what you said, that there was this information out there, but I think Facebook typically pushes more for the chat than the learning part. And the way that Circle is set up, you can really use it as an online learning platform as well as a chat place. And just to clarify, Nicola, because there are all these subgroups, when somebody, will they have access to all the different subgroups if they want to?
So I think when you join, depending on which form you use to join. So if you use the general support form to join, you'll get most of these groups here in the recovery your period section, the live chat, the welcome, all of this learn more stuff. I don't want this menu bar to get too messy for people. So like if you join under general support, you wouldn't have the pregnancy postpartum section, for example. I mean, it's there, but it's just not visible. But anyone can message me to be added to the other groups. Life After Recovery is a private group within this space. So there is a little form to be added to the group, just to make sure that it is people who have had their 3 recovery periods. Just kind of trying to sort of continue to keep the groups a little bit separate so that the discussions can be specific to the stage of recovery that each person is at.
Right, makes sense.
And then we do have a French group that we will be starting fairly soon, and a German group as well. So I think that's something exciting as well. Not for everybody, obviously, because you need to speak those languages, but hopefully that this will provide more support to people in other who speak other languages as well over time.
With these special different languages group, they will not be as detailed, like as elaborate as the English group with all the kind of subgroups. We're going to something a little bit more simple, because I think typically 1 or 2 persons just dealing with the group in a certain language. But sorry, I'm just waving to my son who's going to his swim train. I'm not randomly waving at people at 6 a.m.
There's nothing wrong with random waving. It's not, it's nice. So the last thing is down here, I just have some links for a few pages on my website outside of this for items that are useful in recovery, etc. A couple other things that I wanted to show people is there is a messaging function. So you can send messages to people you know, within the group easily. There's this notifications where, and you can actually set what things you get notified for. So you can get basically notified for everything, or you can choose like notify me if somebody if somebody comments on my post, or if somebody tags me in a post. So that's really helpful. Those notifications get sent to you via email. That's also something you can choose. Or pushed on, you know, on your phone. So I actually really like it because I get notifications on my phone whenever somebody posts or on some of my posts. There is also an app for Apple, not for Android yet.
Okay. On Apple, you can have it as an app on your phone or on your iPad.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And then this here is just your own profile. So this is where you can set the notifications, edit your profile, see you know, see what there are various things you can set.
And so, do you want us to maybe go through some of the comments that you've had about the group?
Yes, that would be. Oh, let me stop sharing my screen so I can see you again.
You are back.
Wait, there you go. Okay, there we go. All right, so Sarah is asking if I still do one-on-one sessions. Yes, absolutely. So if you want to work with me individually, you can go to noperiod.info/appointments. And, you know, I do think that there's added value to that because we can have a much more in-depth discussion about exactly what you're doing and, you know, what things are important to you, particularly, you know, what your personal challenges might be, your blood work, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I do think there's a lot of value to that. And Florence also works with people one-on-one. So
we still work together
as
joint clients, right?
Yes.
So I think that the aim of the group is not to replace what we used to do. We will keep the individual coaching. And I know, Nicola, you'll probably keep your blood work consults and like all the different levels, the 30 minutes, the full-on coaching, like all the different levels that because I think that allows also for people to choose exactly what they need. So, and actually I was talking to someone yesterday in Quebec, and I was telling, because obviously she speaks both French and English, I was telling her about the new group in English and that, you know, that might be a way, because there was a question about budget for individual coaching. And I said, you know, this is something you could also connect with maybe 1 or 2 individual sessions if you feel like it would be helpful to also work more specifically and deeply on your own body image concerns. So I think what we wanted to do with this group that we launch is more access at different levels of budget.
Yep.
But all the rest is still available. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. So yes, so a few comments. So I had posted a little bit about this in the circle group, just asking people, you know, did they find it valuable and all that. And then also a few times when I posted in the Facebook group, people have commented. So I'm going to read what Kate said. It's a little bit long, but I think it's worth sharing because she's got a lot of useful information in here. So she says, I've had the book for 2 years and read it cover to cover, as well as being a fan of the podcast and Facebook group. I'm in my own HA recovery, 2 periods down, trying to get pregnant, and I'm also an endocrinologist with an interest in this area. There are other coaches working in this space who seem to have proliferated quite recently over the last 12 months and trade on social media branding, often with questionable scientific basis and or concerning residual emphasis on appearance and aesthetics. I can categorically vouch for No Period Now What being the sole evidence-based credible resource and support community here. I recommend it to every HA patient and to colleagues, asking them to do the same, but it has also supported me hugely through my own recovery journey. I think your understanding of the science is unmatched. You know more than most of my endo colleagues. I understand the need to transition to a group outside Facebook and to be remunerated for what you do. And I think you've done it really well, even if it feels slow and like hard going sometimes. I'm hugely impressed by what you've managed to do. Your commitment and integrity are clear. I'm happy to vouch for you at any juncture. So that was, I mean, that felt really amazing. And particularly that this is an endocrinologist who is, you know, giving this a vote of confidence. So, you know, I think that that's really, you know, that feels really good, and hopefully that gives you folks a vote of confidence as well. So
Yeah, of course. And I have a few here as well. I just said join, join, join. I had no idea what to expect when I signed up, but I decided to try it just because I trust Nicola and how much work and honesty she puts into everything she does. Ooh, heart.
yeah.
And I haven't regretted. It is a very safe and informative space. And I think that's really important too. Obviously, everything is, you know, confidential. And I think that's also something we wanted from Facebook, that we were not so sure about, like how private Facebook can really keep all that information.
Yeah, there was
And
one time, Florence, there was one time where I Googled something and I came across like a whole bunch of pages from one of the Facebook groups that somebody had pulled out and was just like posted on some random website.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I think it's obviously it's very difficult these days to be 100% sure that nothing will leak, but definitely I think a platform like Circle will pay a lot more attention to the fact that their groups are staying confidential. And Facebook sometimes is more than actually leaking information, which is problematic, right? So she says very safe space filled with wonderful women, and the first live stream with Nicola was also a big success. Anita said, can't recommend enough. It's such a safe place. Your questions are answered. Support is huge. And the new extended recovery page is great. The live streams are so helpful. No one should do this journey alone if you haven't already joined this space. Shauna says, Nicola comments on all posts and people are very involved. It's worth the money. And Trisha said, I'm really liking this new group setup. I haven't found any glitches, and it's organized really well. So looking forward to the Q&A. Kristen added, I enjoy this platform much more than Facebook. It feels safer and much more intimate, which, to be honest, that only for me is worth a few dollars a month. To be perfectly clear, that I know that whatever, I mean, we share super intimate stuff on these groups, right? It's really, I love that we can be safe to share this information together because we don't actually know each other in real life. And so it feels like you have, you know, sisters in recovery with whom you can share like your most, you can share those details because you don't actually work with them, or, you know, they're, I don't know, part of your extended family or they're in your friends group, and you never know what, you know, people might decide to make an opinion about if you share really intimate details with them. Has to be super safe that when you share how much cervical mucus you're having, that you're not going to be coming out of that space, right? So, valid reasons. And yeah, I think we probably talked about all the details. So you also said that the price is $9.99 a month, US dollars. But obviously that you have certain circumstances if people really struggle to pay that amount. Although, to be honest, as I said, I think 2 coffees a month is really manageable, right? Just drink less coffee. And I think I'm just thinking if I can think of something. Do you have any other questions in the chat, or?
I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, but if anybody has anything at the moment, then please pop it in there. So yeah, I think if there are no more questions, then I think that wraps everything up. Thank you so much for joining me, Florence. This was way better than me doing this on my own. And everybody who's watching, have a good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. I know it's super early for you, Florence, actually, so thank you for getting up for me.
Well, so you get the morning face, you know.
All your faces are lovely.
It's okay. It's not too puffy today, so it's all right. But yeah, we are more than our bodies, so
yes,
we're fine.
Yes,
the way we
we're all
are.
good. I have bags under my eyes because I'm not sleeping that well. It's all good. Um,
There you go.
so I hope that if you've been on the fence about this new group, that this might help you make a decision to join us in the new space. To do that, go to noperiod.info/support for the general support group, and I will drop in a comment somewhere the other potential spaces you can join. So it's noperiod.info/TTC if you want to join the Getting Pregnant group. And there's also an option on the forum to purchase the book if you haven't done that already and you would like to. So either ebook or ebook plus paperback, just as you can do on my website. And yeah, I think that is everything. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining and watching. And I look forward to connecting with you in the new space.
Yes, it's going to be fun. I'm obviously also going to comment on the space, and looking forward to speaking with all of you about body image and having specific lives about, you know, how to deal with the fear of gaining weight, or how to feel better in our bodies, even though our bodies are changing in the midst of recovery, how to really gain that confidence that we wanted to gain in the first place when we actually got into that exercise routine or that diet. But we can get that confidence at any size. So that's stuff that we're going to discuss about, that I'm going to be so excited to chat to you about on a regular basis. So thanks, Nick. Time, and everybody who joined or is going to watch this recorded, have a lovely evening, morning, wherever you are.
Yes, I love that this is all over the world. I mean, I think that's one of my favorite things is, you know, talking with people in Australia or Singapore or, you know, Yemen, or I mean all these, like, obviously the US, UK, Canada. I mean, it's everywhere. It's great. France,
Very nice.
Germany, lots of places. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I think that's probably it. And we'll keep that recording accessible, right, for people who haven't been able to watch live, but at the group. And if there are more questions, then I would say comment also below the recording, and we'll keep an eye on those.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Bye,
Good
everybody.
speaking with you. Bye, everyone.